Hello again. Well, now I'm going to do a demonstration of the Carolina rig. Carolina rig is very similar to the Texas rig. In fact, the presentation you're going to use is a Texas rig. And with the addition of a swivel, so we're just going to tie a swivel on. This line that we're looking at here, this is your leader line. That is not your main line, so you can tie on your hook here. So I'll just do a little clinch knot just for demonstration purposes. So there's one right there. Clip that off. And then I have another piece of line here. It's not a really big piece of line, but this would be your main line. So this line is very important that the main line is heavier than the leader line. So if this is 12 pound, you know, this should be 10 pound or 8 pound or something like that. The reason for that is that if this ever gets caught up in the rocks or anything on a log or a tree or something like that, you can break this off, and it'll break just a line somewhere around here, and you'll keep your weight and your bead. So what I'm going to do here is, before we tie on our main line, so what we're going to do is we're just going to put on the weight and the bead. Now again, this is the line that's going off to your reel, so this is, just keep in mind that's the main line, and we're going to tie this on like that. Again, because this is just for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to do any fancy knots. I'm just going to tie that on like that. And so now this is what we've got. Lots of variations. You could put extra weight here depending on what sort of stuff you're fishing through. And the reason for the bead too is it really kind of just protects the knot on your swivel. You know, if this thing is punching it so many times, sometimes that can damage the knot, and if you ever try to set the hook on a fish, you may have already damaged your knot, so it might break off there. So that's the purpose of the bead. So that's really important to have that. Don't forget that. So the Carolina rig has a weight, a bead, a swivel, a leader line. There's your leader line, and then your plastic bait or whatever you're serving up here. Now something very important is, whatever you tie on at the end of the Carolina rig, this has to float, because what this is going to do is you're going to do a technique called dragging. So what you're going to do is you're going to cast out, and this is going to sink the rig to the very bottom, and that's going to sit on the bottom, and this is going to kind of float up just a little bit. So you want something that's going to float. So maybe this is not the best example, because these will they float a little bit, but they're not super buoyant. You want to maybe have something a little bit more buoyant than this, because this is kind of a heavier plastic. So that's basically the setup. So what you're going to do is you're going to be slowly dragging this along the bottom, and this is going to be just kind of, you know, following it. And so any fish that are feeding on the bottom, this is a perfect setup. So depending on how much leader line you have here, you know, will depend on how high that'll sink or float off the bottom. Something to keep in mind. And that is the Carolina rig.